What happens immediately after a DWI arrest in Queens, New York? Attorney Martin Kane explains that. In Queens County, the first thing that will happen after you are placed under arrest is the officer will take you to the 112th Precinct, which is in Forest Hills, Queens. That's where all of the IDTU, Intoxicated Driver Testing Unit testing is done, so the officer will transport you as quickly as possible to the 112th Precinct. At that point, there will be other officers there tasked with administering the breathalyzer test, which you will be asked to take. The officer will also inform you that if you refuse to take the test, your license will be revoked. He is required to say that to you. Most people would and should take the breathalyzer test. Assuming that you take the breathalyzer test, there will be a reading, and the officer will also ask you to do various coordination tests, will ask you various questions, and perhaps ask for a writing sample, which all takes quite a while. Once you are done with that, even if your breathalyzer test comes in low, he is not going to release you at that point, but assuming that the test showed you had sufficient alcohol to constitute a DWI, he is then going to take you over to Queens Central Booking, where all defendants go prior to seeing a judge. Eventually, usually between 12 and 24 hours after that, you are going to go in front of a judge for the first time for what's called an arraignment. At that time, the judge will listen to the district attorney and your attorney if you have one. The first question is whether or not you should be released without bail or whether bail should be posted. A good lawyer, certainly for a first arrest, will almost always get the judge to release you without bail, assuming that you have reasonable ties to the community. You'll also be advised as to what the charges against you are, and if you have taken the test and the reading is above 0.08, the judge, by law, must suspend your license. If you refuse to take the test, the judge will also suspend your license and will direct you to a hearing at the Motor Vehicle Bureau to determine whether your license should be revoked at that point. In other words, if you did not take the breathalyzer test, it becomes an issue that's dealt with at the Motor Vehicle Bureau. In all cases, you'll be given a date to come back to criminal court, and at that point, you and your lawyer will start working on how to present the very best defense possible. For a free phone consultation, contact attorney Martin Kane in Kew Gardens, New York at 718-793-5700 or visit his website at www.martinkanelaw.com.